he shouldn't look better with blood splatter on him. He really shouldn't. Hey guys, it's your girl Lady Shay, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with a brand new season of Squid Game. We're finally here, guys. We are finally here. After 3 long years, we finally have our second season, which we were promised quite a while ago, but we all know there was a lot of things that happened, you know, that whole worldwide thing that happened that kind of shut filming down globally for a while, that kind of put the brakes on a lot of projects. But either way, we are here, season 2. I know I'm a little bit late compared to, I know this came out a little while ago, but you know, it's the season to take a little break, and that's what I did. So I'm back at it though. So thank you so much for bearing with me and waiting for this reaction. But we are jumping into season 2. I have no idea where we're going to kick this off because we ended last season with, you know, again, if you're here, I'm assuming you've watched season 1, but if you haven't, spoiler alert, we ended the season with our lead character actually winning the Squid Game. And again, a lot of people wondered where we're going to get a second season because everybody that we kind of got to know and understand in season 1 is gone effectively, with the exception of a handful of characters. But our lead character decided he wasn't going to just take the money and forget about it. He wanted to go back in and potentially get revenge or stop this from ever happening to anyone else, because obviously it was highly traumatizing. But how he's going to do that, what power he has, I'm very interested to see what he thinks he can do. Plus, we also had the police officer, the undercover police officer from last season, who's trying to figure out how deep this thing goes, because his brother, who he discovered is actually one of the game masters in this thing, has joined it, and he just wants to know how deep this goes and how to stop it all. So still a lot of plot there, to be fair, but how they're going to handle it with a essentially brand new cast is going to be interesting. So it has been very hard to avoid spoilers for this, so I'm very happy that I'm finally jumping in so I can just finally know what everyone's talking about. So without further ado, let's get into episode 1 of season 2, which is called Bread and Lottery. Interesting. And just before I do though, for those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel. I react to all sorts of good stuff here, and I hope that you do decide to stick around and join the fam. Hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you will be in the know when I drop new episodes. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now.
어딜 그렇게 가는 거지?
Yep.
갈 곳이 없을 텐데.
They see you, they're always watching, and you'll never know who they are.
네 선택을 후회하게 될 거야.
Right, and what I also remember too from last season that ticked me off is that him doing this, fine at his own personal safety, but he keeps forgetting he's got a daughter. And they know where his daughter is. Like, and at this point, she's not in Korea, but it's not the point. Like, that was reckless as far as her life and his ex-wife. Oh, you think there's a tracker in you? Maybe there is. Ay, 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 ay! Ah, ah! Sir, you can't even see where you're cutting! You could be deaf for life now. Yeah, exactly. Just back out of the bathroom, little boy.
5분만 있다 와줄래?
Yeah, let's give him 5 minutes. Yeah. Therapy for life. You got butt naked? You could have done that in the stall, bro. You survived, my handsome boy, but he didn't want to kill you. Damn! Now that he's deaf. That's the first word out of your mouth? Your mom screaming in your face? 2 years later?
존나 힘들게 사는 시민한테 삥 뜯는 것도 아니고.
여증 주세요.
How'd you like to get your license suspended? Keep talking.
야 왕준호!
Yes. Who are you?
엄마 짭새 소리나 들으려고 여기를 보내달라고 했냐?
준호야, 밖으로 그만 들어오고 강력계로 다시 돌아와.
So you went to be a traffic cop.
네 말 믿고 싶어. 아니, 믿어. 근데 네가 보냈다는 사진 파일은 하나도 안 왔고. 네가 봤다는 그 사람 죽이는 게임. 야, 그거를 윗선에서 믿게 만들기가 증거가 너무 없어. 증거가.
Fair enough.
너 그때 정신 돌아오고 나서 위에서 네 옷 뺏기라고 난리 치는 걸 내가 겨우 막았어.
예. 충성.
Right? Like, thanks. Didn't ask you to.
그래서 제가 교통하잖아요 지금.
Yeah, like, let the man recover psychologically, bro.
착용. 그냥 사진으로 딱딱 찍어서 보여주니까 범인들이 아주
Right?
깜짝
Let the man stick with what he knows.
너 정말 기억이 안 나냐?
Who shot you?
널 쏜 놈이 누구지?
Yep, it's a blur. That's what we're going with. Whether it's because he really believes it or because he doesn't want to. But also, his brother did save his life. He could have killed him. But looking at that bullet hole every day has got to be a harsh reminder. That's the best they could do in the land of plastic surgery?
여기?
This hotel... It looks like it's going to leave you with things that you didn't go in there with, if you know what I mean.
안 계세요.
Yeah, it looks pretty dead, bro.
사장님.
오빠, 여기 꼭 가야 돼?
Yeah, let's go someplace
너무
where
그런데?
maybe, yeah, it doesn't look like it's infested.
간판에 불 꺼지면 만실이야. 딴 데 가자.
누가 그런 걸 어떻게 알아? 그냥? 아주 그냥 모텔 전문가시네.
Alright, fine, then don't stay there with me. Bye.
병?
언제나 아는 게 많아서 좋다더니.
Exactly. You see the way men be like that? When they're dating you, it's all so cute, but then the second, you start getting serious, all of a sudden all the things that they thought were cute before is problematic. Wait, did this homie buy the entire motel? Why don't you have a peephole? Why would you open the door?
456번.
Is this a nightmare?
이걸 찾고 있나?
Yeah. Oh! That's a vivid ass dream. Oh. Or, okay. Please tell me, do you really not have a peephole? Not the finger heart.
오늘은 1, 2, 3, 4, 5선 라인을 쭉 돌아봤는데
Oh, you're looking for my husband. He's not gonna be found till he wanna be.
벌써 2년이나 뒤졌는데 그림자도 안 보이잖아.
Also, they might cycle through different people.
지하철 전 라인 동시에요. 전 라인을 동시에 다?
How much money? Okay, he burnt through all that money then. So let me get this straight. This man is blowing all this money just to get back into the game and not sending any money to his daughter.
원금, 이자 한 푼도 못 건지고.
그러니까 형님한테 돈꾼 연놈들이 어디 섬에 죄다 끌려가갖고 애들이 하는 게임 하다가 죽었다고 한다는 게.
Oh, okay.
돈을 주잖아, 돈을.
That makes more sense. Okay.
그동안 니들 월급도 주고 사무실 유지도 한 거야. 알아?
알죠.
알면
I
다
see.
10억이요?
그래, 10억. 왜? 이제 막
He's like, oh, suddenly y'all want to hear my story now, huh?
그럼 자러 가야지.
Oh, look at the motivation, you greedy. See how capitalism ruins people? Wow, though, literally, bro, you're spending off every last... I mean, I get it in some sense because obviously he feels guilty about the money, but it just feels like he went through all that for nothing. And those people died for nothing, which I guess they kind of died for nothing anyway, but...
오늘도 그놈의 신배선 찾으러 가야지.
Okay, so he hasn't given up. He just doesn't want anybody thinking he's crazy.
다 가본 것 같은데 계속 가시자고 하니까 이제 나도 잘 모르겠습니다.
The sarcasm.
우리가 찾아야 될 사람은 바로 이 사람입니다. 키는
How dare you! How dare you do that to my baby?
을 잘 차려 입고 서류 가방을.
That is not an
이
accurate
서류
depiction of
가방
my
안에는
husband. I demand a redraw. I'm telling you, Gong, you probably died somewhere seeing that this is somebody's artistic depiction of him.
절대 슬쩍 건너뛰어서는 안 됩니다.
He's got an amazing voice. Doesn't this sound like a deep announcer type voice?
5억의 보너스가 지급됩니다.
You all cheering like you did nothing. You haven't left the office yet. Well, if nothing else, they're gonna get their cardio. I'm just wondering, this plan feels a little bit ill-conceived though, because if you do catch him, then what? Just be like, hey, how dare you come into the station playing takchi? Like, that's not gonna be enough to get someone arrested. And let's be real, the pretty privilege on Gong Yu is gonna get him out of everything. Always looking for his phone. Let me take a quick look. Sir, no, we're starting to cross boundaries here. Bro, if they weren't tipped off before, they are now. Just assaulting random dudes in suits at the train station.
이제 귀향하겠습니다.
I mean, it's been 2 years. At this point, y'all are due for a break. They gotta slip up somehow. Bro, you're gonna definitely like die of lung cancer at this rate before you even get your revenge.
이 날씨에 이대로는 물이라고 했잖아. 거긴 물이 휘어리치는 곳이라 어지간히 큰 배들도 잘 안 들어가는 곳이라고.
They probably know how to navigate the whirlpools.
내가 어쩌다가 그때 거기서 황행사를 건져내가지고 돈도
Bro,
안 되는
enough.
목숨 걸고 하고 있을까? 항상
Are
감사하게
you not
생각하고
paying
있어.
him for this?
떨어진 섬도 기억을 못 하는데 거길 어떻게 찾아?
Okay, sir. I understand that you're trying to be realistic, but that kind of hurts.
이래놓고 또 일주일 뒤에 다시 오겠지?
Exactly.
지금까지 그 섬 찾는 거 도와주신 것도 제가 어떻게 해서든 그 은행 꼭 갚을게요.
You better. That's a lot of fuel. You know, what'd be hilarious is if this boat dude actually like worked for the island and he's just taking him on all these like long trips on purpose to keep him off the trail.
하나 잡자. 아?
Squid.
요즘엔 그 선원들 구하는 것도 하늘의 별따기야. 내가 그
Maybe I wasn't. Maybe that's not such a far-fetched idea. It's food.
이건 진짜 너무한 거 아니야?
먹어.
아주 배분 소리하고 자빠졌어.
Thank you.
야 이 새끼야. 그럼 넌 나가서 노가다를 뛰어.
Exactly.
성기훈 이 새끼가 아무리 미쳤어도 있지도 않는 놈 찾겠다고 수억을
That's
뿌려가면서
true. Most people are not that insane.
꼭 잡아내서 게임에 참가를 하래요. 456억 벌어오라고.
Oh, you think you can handle it?
를 치는 놈이 있었으면 우리가
All right.
진지게.
Why don't you go do it then? And the Lord shall provide. Ah! He still got a great right hook. That's my baby. Is he still crazy? The way he claps so condescendingly, I live.
이동한다.
Follow him, I guess.
조심해서 따라오고.
Don't you dare hurt him, though. Don't you dare touch a beautiful hair on his head.
알았어. 계속 연락할게.
It's not his fault, okay? He's a victim too. Look at the bruised cheek. You would think they would have changed their motto. They have to know they've been looking for him. Bro, you're that broke and you can afford an iPhone? So she's pregnant. Oh, she got one too? Honey. That's a lot of bread. Okay, whatever you want.
짱이요? 좋은 거 구셨나 보네.
The way I would never say no. You love your belly too much, sir. If you get arrested for speeding, you won't make it.
선생님,
Wow, he's creating more customers. Hi, Angel.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
내일이 없는 삶에 힘겨워하시는 선생님을 위해서.
Damn. I just woke up.
뭔데?
So eager. This is what you guys get into trouble for. Don't take candy from strangers. Oh.
선물은 하나. 빵과 복권. 둘 중 하나만 선택하실 수 있습니다.
Oh, he's trying to see if he's a gambler. Future customer. Ah, you had to know.
동전 좀.
Oh! Cheap. Ooh, that good.
우서가.
예예.
That's
저
actually
새끼
kind of
지금
cruel,
뭐 하는 거냐?
but smart.
좋은 놈 같기도 하고 좀
Good guy? Seeing how many people are choosing greed over survival? Oh, maybe we're not going to make the best choices if we're drinking soju during the day. Oh, the calluses. Who's not been massaging your hands, boo? You need to come home more often. I can help. Damn, is nobody in this park hungry? Not hungry enough. Oh. Good man. That's a man. There you go. There's a smart man right there. What are you gonna do with all that bread, bro?
아 그러게요. 아씨 나 어제 똥 꿨는데.
Because y'all don't look desperate.
아이고 이 아까운 거 왜 버려요?
저는 선생님께 기회를 드렸고 선생님은 선택을 했습니다. 이 빵을 버린 건 제가 아니라 선생님들입니다.
He's not lying. That's the harsh part. It's kind of hot. Straighten out the suit now. Oh yeah, you worked up a sweat with that one. Whew. All right, everyone have a good day. Yeah, you deserve that. On what you was thinking. Think you Batman? You can just fly through the streets? Speeding and no one's gonna notice? You still have to obey the law, sir. Oh, I thought maybe it was Brother Man. Is it? It is!
제가요.
Really? He'll be back at the park. Follow that car! Do it! I've always wanted to do that though. Just get into a cab one day and be like, follow that car!
속도 위반 범칙금 6만 원입니다. 제달.
I mean, fair enough. I can't remember. Was he there to the end?
이렇게 더 주자.
우리끼리요?
그래. 왜 쫄리냐? 2대1이잖아.
I would be.
그런 거 아닌데 저 새끼 느낌이 좀 쎄하잖아요. 그리고
Well,
성사장도
just because he likes to
제공기까지
step on a little
기다리라고
bread. I
그냥
mean,
그러다
people
놓치면-
have their things, okay?
저 5억 주는 거 맞죠?
That's
야,
what he
너 나 못
said.
믿어. 내가 너 결혼식 주례까지 썼는데.
Bro, he's getting away.
야, 이 새끼야!
개새끼야! I would have done the same. How dare you 개새끼야 me? Ooh. Yes. Oh. Oh. I know he's the bad guy, but that's my husband, guys. I can't be mad at him. That was hot.
도와주십시오. 전령 찾아야 합니다.
Okay, because I was like, I don't think he stuck around long enough to know the Guion won. Use the force. They still laid out? Hopefully he didn't kill them. Damn, straight to voicemail. He took their phones or he took out their cards, one or the other. Okay, the blade's clean. Maybe he didn't actually stab them. Oh, I see you. I see you. Look up, baby. The fact that his hair is still perfect. Not a dog gag. I did not take you for that kind of freak, but I don't hate it. Oh no, I'm sorry. This man is insane. When they start playing opera music, you know something bad about to happen. I see guns and I see bullets. Russian roulette?
이제부터 게임을 하겠습니다.
Oh no.
죽을 확률이 6분의 1. 살 확률은 6분의 5.
Psycho.
제가 신호를 드리겠습니다. 거기에 맞춰서 내주세요.
I mean, do we have to jump straight to the game? Can we talk? Can we have a drink? Flirt? No? It's gonna be the last thing I ever do.
아이보.
And they're, oh, you didn't play. I think that's a loss.
실격입니다.
Whoa, lucky boy.
자, 그럼 다시 시작하겠습니다. 가위바위보. 하나 빼기.
Oh. Oh, thank
긴장하실 거
you.
없습니다.
It's so awful when
말씀드려-
you get sweat in your eye. One of them is definitely gonna have cardiac arrest first.
좀 지루한 감이 없지 않아
He's gonna
있네요.
put 2 in, isn't he?
6분의 5.
Damn. Homie said I'm on a schedule. Didn't he say he just got married? That does suck. Yeah, you lose either way. Unless this guy loves you a lot. Oh. Oh, he saved your life. Because he knew you just got married. Damn. That's a real boss. That's survivor's guilt, though. Bye. God, he shouldn't look better with blood splatter on him. He really shouldn't. Are you about to commit a crime, officer? Because something tells you don't have a warrant to go in this place. But because you're attractive, we're gonna let it go. Bro, this is not smart. If you slip... Can they just leave their windows? But I guess they don't expect anyone's gonna come through the window.
대방역이라고 새끼야. 신대방이 아니라 대방. 아, 이 새끼 몇 번 말했는데 말귀도 못 알아들어.
How convenient that he had to repeat where he was going twice, loudly so that the cop could hear. You lift the key. Everybody here is an idiot. What'd you notice? Oh, the lights are on. He never turns the lights on. Damn, those dreams he was having might have been a bit of a premonition. Daddy's home.
감사 인사를 하려고.
He didn't even clean up.
인사를 하는 게 사람의 도리겠지. 너한테 초대장을 배달시킨 놈이 누구지?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that.
궁지에 몰린 사람들 상대로 지하철에서 야바이 짓이나 하는 놈이.
But you took the...
내가 하려는 말을 제대로 알아들을 수나 있겠어?
Like you.
난 네가 어떻게 그놈들이 개가 됐는지 관심 없어.
Really?
이 세상에서 아무짝에 쓸모없는 쓰레기다. 그렇게 중얼거리면서 몇 년간 열심히 일했더니 게임에서 탈락한 놈을 쏘려고 하는데 어? 이게 얼굴이 낯이 익은 거예요. 누군지 알아요?
Friend, father.
우리 아빠.
Mm.
그리고 깨달았죠. 아, 이 일이 내 적성에 잘 맞는구나.
It's quite the beautiful come-up story.
무슨 특별한 사람이라도 된 것 같으세요?
내가 어떻게 거기서 살아나왔는지.
I wouldn't say that. Barely a flinch. Not bad.
저랑 게임 한번 하시죠.
Taki? Takji? Sorry. Not time to say it. A little too on the nose.
탄창을 돌리는.
Oh, guys, I think they're about to kill my man, and I'm not happy about it.
다시 탄창을 돌리지 말고 한 발씩 번갈아서 쏘는 거예요.
True Russian roulette. All right, Ken, he grew a pair. Time to say goodbye. Oh, guys, I don't want Gong Yu's character to die. He's too fine. Why do I feel like he had a little orgasm there? Why is this mildly erotic? I'm sorry, this shouldn't be. So fine. Gong Yu is so fine. How many is that? 3 bullets? 3 bullets.
겁이 나고 생각이 많아지는 것도 당연하죠. 아마 지금 이런 생각이 들 거예요.
Not thinking about his daughter at all.
성기훈 씨가 보고 싶어 하시는 그분을 만날 수 있는 방법이 제 주머니에 있습니다. 지금 그 총으로 절 쏘시고 그걸 가져가시면 돼요. 다만 이거 하나만 인정하시면 됩니다.
You're no better than me.
너도 다른 놈들이랑 똑같은 쓰레기야. 운이 좋아서 겨우 폐기 처리를 면한 쓰레기.
He's doing such a good job with this American Psycho impression. Wow. You can't call him a bitch. At the very least, are you really ready to pull the trigger, my love?
날 죽일 수 있어.
He could, but if he wanted to do that, he would have done that before you got there. No one wins this game, though. Look at this beautiful face. But I know this isn't your story, so I'm glad they give you this much. Bye, baby. Do you think the key is actually in his pocket, guys? Or do you think he just said that? That's the question. No, I'm pretty sure he told the truth. That man was clearly insane. But, oh, man. I'm sorry. I know, guys. I was unnecessarily fiending for that man, but it's Gong Yu. That's my baby daddy, okay? Look, I love that man. I love that man, okay? I love him. And listen, the range, because Gongyu is like the biggest cuddly teddy bear in the world, IRL. So for him to actually pull off this absolutely insane man, like, just give him an award already. Like, I mean, this is pretty much it. This is like way more than he had in the first series, obviously, but I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Everything, just from the looking all nice in his suit to the going and purchasing all the lottery tickets and the bread and then smashing the bread. The way even when he took back the 10 won coin and the aggression of like, oh no, you don't even get 10 coins from me, right? Like, he did such a good job, and we'll come to him in a second because I mean, I could go on and on, but let's kind of talk about this first episode. So that was a lot. That was a long episode actually, but we have revisited. So we see that after Gian did not get on the plane, he took out the tracking. He figured out there was a tracking device in him because he was like, how do they know where I am exactly? Like, that's a little too much. And then he realized they must be tracking him. And of course, last season, we know that when they're brought into the game, they're knocked out, right? So they have no idea what happens between when they're picked up in the car to when they show up on the island. So obviously they must have implanted the tracker during that time when they were asleep. But anyways, excuse me, he removes the tracker and he decides he's gonna live underground, I guess, in Korea and look for them, right? He doesn't want to give up the idea of finding who's at the top of this so he can stop the games from happening again. And we see that in the meantime, he's bought himself an entire hotel to live out of. And he also has, it looks like he's been paying the people that he used to owe money to, the creditors, so that they could help him find my baby daddy, because he knows that he is the ticket to getting into the game. So he's hoping that he can kind of basically backtrack all of his steps to how he got into this mess to get back into it, basically. And so we see that, you know, this actually worked. It took 2 years, but eventually they did find him because Guillaume at least pieced together that this guy usually recruits around this time of year. It's been a couple of years. Like, we missed him the first two. Like, if we don't get him in this window, we're probably not gonna, we have to wait till next year. So thankfully, because of the fact that he knew that he'd most likely be going to the train station at some point and that he would use Takji as the game to get people to take the card and get into the game, they were eventually able to catch him. And as I said in the episode, like, that's just bad on them, because how do you keep the same recruiting strategy? Like, after 3 years, you should probably change it up. That's all I'm saying. Maybe do something different. But anyways, I don't think they ever thought in a million years that someone would go to this length to find them, right? And especially because when they took out his tracker, they probably just gave up on him and thought either he left or something happened. But either way, so that's been Guillen's life, right? He really wants to go, and, you know, he's carrying a gun now. We see he's smoking like 10 packs a day. He's clearly not okay, right? He's living in this personal hell. He's having horrific nightmares of the people, you know, especially the last 2 people who died in the game, because those are the people he built. Well, one of them was one that he's known his whole life, and the other was someone that he feels an immense amount of debt towards, and also the fact that she left someone behind. And so he's just haunted by all this. The survivor's guilt is really killing him, and he's not really enjoying life at all. And that's why he's like so doggedly determined to try to make his way back up here. And, you know, in the episode, you heard me say that I feel like it's a bit selfish on his part, in the sense of not thinking of the ripple effect of what this could do. I mean, I don't think the show is going to take it there, but I'm just saying, if we're thinking about this realistically, this is a game that globally, elite people who are so rich that we hand it, like, they're untouchably rich, are investing in watching these games happen. Do you really think that if they thought for a second that they were getting close to being discovered, that they would not do absolutely everything in their power to keep you quiet, right? And I mean, fine, like I said, if it was just Gian and just his life he was gambling with, so be it. That's fair. But he has a child, and they know he has a child, and they know he's got an ex, and they know that he cares about them. So it's like, you've now put them in danger. And while, yes, they're not in Korea anymore, we saw last season, there are people from all over the world that participate in at least watching these games. So you think that they can't find where your family is no matter where they are and potentially do something? Like, that's what I'm just saying, is that Guillen's not going about this smartly. And I understand this desperation he has of trying to cleanse his conscience of this horrible thing that's happened on his watch. But as I said, it just, it doesn't make sense to me in the risk that he's taking. It's a bit selfish. He's still not thinking about anything other than himself, even now. And I understand him not wanting the money either. Like, the fact that he's blown, it sounds like, at least half of it on trying to find this guy is like, okay, fine, you know, you've given away but I'm like, you could have donated that to charity. You could have done something, you know, if you really didn't want to keep the blood money. But it's like, it just feels like, as I said, kind of like he's disrespecting the sacrifices of the people who died to let him get to that point, if that makes sense. And the other thing is, which actually we'll get to that in a second, but so that was kind of like what we saw with Gian, right? Like he's just been so singularly focused on this one thing, and it did end up paying off here, as we see at the end. And on the other side, we see the cop, right? The cop who was shot, you know, by his own brother. He has recovered from that gunshot wound, but we see that he still isn't telling people who shot him, for obvious reasons, because I think it's mostly for his mother, right? He still doesn't want to let his mom know that not only does his brother live, but his brother is now part of something that's so heinous that would probably break her heart. But anyways, we see that he's gone to becoming a traffic cop instead of the crimes division because he doesn't want to really have any, I think 2 reasons. One, he doesn't want to have to worry about any heavy thinking. He doesn't want anything to take his mind off of what he's focused on, but also because it keeps people off his back, right? Doing a simple job where you clock in, you clock out, very little chance of anything crazy going on. It allows people to just kind of take their eyes off of him and not worry what he's up to. And what he's up to is that we see that the man who actually rescued him from drowning is a guy who's got a boat, and they've been going out pretty much every free moment that he has to go see if they can try to find this island, or at least find his phone so that he can get the evidence to prove what he said. Because as you can imagine, when he told his story 2 years ago with no evidence other than being shot, it made him seem like a crazy person, right? And that's very frustrating when you know something is true and no one believes you. So anyways, we see that that's been his focal point, that even though he's letting everyone, like the powers that be, you know, he's allowing them to believe that he's given up on it and he doesn't believe anything anymore, but really he's still searching on his own to see if he can find any level of evidence to prove what happened, so he can get enough information to either get help or at least get back on the trail to figuring out how to get back to his brother, right? Because as I said in the episode several times, his brother could have killed him. He didn't kill him on purpose. So that's something that I think he's holding on to, is that if his brother didn't take him out, there must be something of his old brother still in there. And that's, I think, what's keeping him on this track and so desperate to find him. And so we just see that throughout the episode, their lines do converge again, because of course Gian is speeding and gets pulled over, and he just happens to be in the car with the police car that stops Gian. And he does his own investigation to figure out that Gian is in fact, you know, doing something that still has to do with the games. So we see now that he's following his way back to Gian so we can see whether or not maybe, I don't know if he just wants information or if he wants to work together, but I definitely think they do need to work together, because either of them working on their own, this is not going to work, right? The Squid Games is a highly organized machine that's been going since, what does season 1 say, like 1980 something? So like it's a well-oiled machine is my point. So they can't go into this alone. They're going to get caught or they're going to get taken out, one or the other, if they try to do it that way. So at least the two of them working together as people who know how the system works and have insider information, they have a much better shot at potentially getting to where they want to go. But yeah, we had that, and then we had the amazing performance. Oh, we had 2 new people. Sorry, we introduced 2 new people. We saw one guy who was getting slapped by Gong Yu, who took the card, and we see that he got a call from his pregnant girlfriend who also had a card, and she decided not to go to her appointment. So I have a sneaking suspicion both of them are going to end up at the games. So that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it's probably going to be one of those sad things, because I don't know if either of them is going to win. I just hope she drops out if she's got the option, because, you know, it's one thing if she doesn't want to have the child, but to die with the child is a bit crazy, you know. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure we're going to come back to those 2. But yeah, outside of that, the rest of it, like I said, this was Gong Yu's episode. Let's be real. Like they said, Gong Yu comes with a higher price tag. So let's make sure we make use of this cameo. Although it's not really even a cameo this time. He was a full-fledged character. And we see that he is an absolute psychopath. Like there's really no other way to describe it. This man has completely devolved into I mean, I don't want to say psycho, because I don't think he derives pleasure from it per se, but he's clearly gotten to a point where there's zero remorse, right? He doesn't feel any level of what he's doing is wrong, right? So we see that, you know, he knows I knew he knew he was being followed. I could tell there's no way that those 2 guys, like bless them, they were way too bumbly for Gong Yu not to have noticed that he was being followed. But anyway, he eventually Well, they follow him and they get to see one of the ways clearly that they get people to play these games. Because I was sitting there thinking, like, I'm sure that there's no shortage of people in Korea that are desperate for money, that are in debt, that are possibly being hunted down by creditors, people who've lent money to loan sharks who were after them. Like, I'm sure that there's a good chunk of them, but to come up with hundreds of them every single year cannot be easy. Like, not, you know what I'm saying? I can see maybe 1 year after they've waited a while, they could, accumulate that many people, but year after year, highly unlikely. So this is how they're replenishing their pools. We now know that the way that they do that is different ways. And we see Gong Yu's character going and buying lottery tickets and bread, which is the name of the episode, Bread and Lottery. And he goes to a park where he sees that there's a lot of people who are homeless, and he gives them the option of either having a lottery ticket, the chance at making some money, or something they probably very much need, which is bread, like something to eat. And we see that out of the ones they showed us, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably more, but out of the ones they showed us, one person chose the bread. Everybody else chose greed, chose the idea of making more money. And I mean, some could argue that, okay, if you win the lottery, then you have enough money to pay for your food for the rest of the year, or maybe the rest of your life. But let's be real. It's a chance. It's a gamble. It's gambling, right? You are gambling. And we all know with scratch tickets, the chances of winning are so low with one ticket. It's one thing if he offered them 30 tickets, right? It's like, here's 30 lottery tickets or a piece of bread. That might more like, okay, there's a 30, with 30, I've got a higher percentage of a chance that I might at least make 20 bucks, $100, right? But one lottery ticket versus a guaranteed meal, right? So just the psychology of that was actually really brilliant when you think about it, because by that, Gong Yu's character is able to already assess potential gamblers, right? Now, that's not to say that all the people who are in that place all made it there because they were gamblers, right? There's various reasons they could be in this position, but he was figuring out the mentality of who's really going to be someone who's willing to do anything or forego anything, even if it's something that's quite blatantly, obviously the better thing for the sake of the greed, for the sake of the idea of money. Those are the kind of people that they want in the Squid Game, right? They want people who are going to throw their morals and their good sense aside at the idea of getting rich. So I thought, like, that's actually kind of brilliant. Like, I don't know if he's the one who came up with that or if his higher ups gave him that particular plan, but either way, it was smart. Like, it really was smart, a way to weed out the mentality of these people and potential people to put into this particular game, right? And then I shouldn't say I loved, but it's more of like the way they depicted it, where at the end, after he's gone and he's offered this to everybody that he feels would be, was a candidate for this, and he dumps all the bread. And there's so much bread, like, that's a lot of food. He just dumps it on the ground and they all come running and they're all like, why would you throw away perfectly good food? And he's like, I didn't throw it away. You did. I offered all of you this bread and you, majority of you, chose a scratch ticket. And now you're looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm throwing away the food that you didn't want, right? And then he proceeds to make sure that they can't eat it. I mean, I guess they're desperate enough they could eat it off the ground, but obviously, the dignity of it, right? So I just thought that was honestly, like, the whole performance itself was brilliant, but just, I love that line where he said, I didn't make this choice. You guys made this choice. And the reason I like that is it kind of feeds into this whole thing with the face-off that he has with Gian at the end, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But, let's talk about first Gong Yu and being the crazy man with the crazy game of Russian roulette / rock, paper, scissors, right? The marriage of the childish game with a death penalty of some kind, right? Which is all about Squid Game last season. And we see that these two guys that, were doing their job poorly, but doing their job of following him, they get caught in this situation and they have to play this game. And we see that in the end, it's obviously the mental of it was, that's what did them in, right? They were both completely and utterly shell-shocked. So they weren't going to win that game one way or another. But in the end, we see that the guy, the boss man, actually let himself be sacrificed for the other guy who he knew was newly married and who I think in his mind, he thought, I made him come out here and do this job. So, that actually shows that despite everything, his boss had a conscience. But either way, that whole scene, again, Gong Yu, all the claps and snaps, he pulled that off. Like, that man was terrifying. Like, the fact that he just looked so damn good the whole time was so distracting. Pretty privilege is real, y'all. Anyway, I digress. Very wrong, very bad. Anyway, so we see that all that happens, and of course, because he ends up questioning the man that survives, he finds out where Guion is staying, and he shows up there, and I knew that he wasn't gonna actually give Guion information as far as admit anything. But the whole thing of bringing it back to playing a game of Russian roulette, and my guess is the reason why, because I'm like, why would he do that? Because truthfully, homie could have disappeared, right? He could have just been like, okay, yeah, call these guys and say I was made, they found me, you know, I gotta hide out for like a year or something like that, find any strategy, we'll try again later. But the fact that he went, to me, I feel like he was done, right? Like, in the sense of, he could have been done in the sense of he really didn't want to do this anymore. There is a tiny possibility that he really was sick of being their lapdog, but it could also just be that, you know, it's one of those situations where, you know how in the game last season that one guy who, remember when that one guy lost the game and he got the gun on one of the mask wearers, and he forced that guy to take his mask off. He told him to turn around and look at him. And then when all that happened, the boss came in and killed him and said, you know, rule number one is never let them see your face, right? So kind of saying that there's no, like, you can't get made in this game. If you get made in this game, you're done, right? So maybe that's why also Gong Yu's character did this. Like, you guys found me, you figured me out, so I won't get help from them. They're probably going to take me out anyways. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking that might be the reason he would risk playing this game, because he didn't have to, is my point. He could have taken Guion out at any point, but he chose instead to let Guion come in, have the conversation with him, and then basically even tell him, take the time to explain to him how he even got to doing this job. And we find out that he was in fact one of the mask wearers, and he did that for years before, I guess, they gave him the opportunity to do this job. And he said basically once he took out his own father, that's when he realized, I guess, well, he said he was made for this job, but I look at it as, if you do something like that, unless your dad was someone who was literally the devil incarnate, who made like your life a living hell, that's gonna break something very deep inside of you, right? And remember, before that, his character said that I had to dehumanize these people in order to, like, when I was in these games doing what I was doing, I had to dehumanize them to justify it, right? I had to tell them they were trash, they were nothing, you know, they deserve this, right? That's justification for doing something he intrinsically knew was wrong. But I think when he finally saw that his father is one of these people that he was dehumanizing, that broke something, right? Because I feel like his dad wasn't trash, for at least not to him, right? And so that's, I think, was his breaking point, you know, mentally. And since then, he's just been doing this job because what else do you do when you've done this thing you can never come back from, right? And maybe that's why he was ready to be done with it. But anyway, we found out that backstory, and we see that Guion just is like, I don't care about all that. I just want you to tell me who sent you. I need to know he's trying to follow this chain up. And he's like, why don't you tell me the message and I'll pass it along. And Guion basically says, you're a lapdog. You're an underling. You can't understand what I went through in these games. And basically he's trying to make himself better. He's trying to victimize himself over Gong Yu's character. And that's the part where in the episode I said, no one wins this game, in the sense of both of you are victims in a way. Because again, we don't know how Gong Yu's character got into the games, right? That part we're unaware of. He might have, much like Guion, been told this was something to make money, and then by the time he realized what it was, he was in too deep to do anything. Because we know that these people, how many people are really gonna sign up to do what these people, even the masked people, are doing in this game, if they know what it actually is? Do you feel me? Like, no one, the most people are not gonna sign up for that. Not to mention, we learned last season that the life of the mask wearers is not, it's not great either. They're basically prisoners. They're not allowed to see each other's faces. They go into their room at night. They get their little 3 square meals. They have nothing, like, they're prison cells. The only difference is that they're not getting the ones getting killed, but the risk is there. They know that if they step out of line, they're gonna die too. So really, no one's necessarily doing better in these games. The only people who are benefiting are the rich oligarchs that are watching this for fun, right? So that's why I was saying that, like, here's Guion trying to make it seem like Gong Yu's character is so horrible, but it's like, but you're both victims. Really and truly, both of you are victims here. And yes, on the one hand, Gong Yu's character did stay with it, right? Like, when he got a chance to potentially leave, he didn't take it. He's out here still doing it. And let's face it, he looked like he enjoyed that game of Russian roulette in the end. But even then, I would say I don't even think he truly enjoyed it. All of it gave me mask, right? He may not have the mask, you know, with the circle or the triangle on it anymore, anymore, but there's a mask in place just the same. One that he's got to put on to do this job that he knows is going against anything that is normal for a human being. And that's why I said I feel like my guess that he did this as a way out of all of this, and that's why he even agreed to do this game rather than just, like I said, take out Gian. I think he was tired of it himself. I think he felt like if there's a way to get out of this game, maybe this is the way to do it, right? So yeah, they have their back and forth during their Russian roulette game, and you know, we see that Gong Yu tries all the tricks he's got in his book to try to get inside Gian's head, but Gian is really at a place where, I mean, he picked the wrong game for Gian in the sense of trying to intimidate him. And again, this is why I feel like he must have been ready to like check out, because how are you going to sit there and play a game that's flirting with death with a man that went through a literal game where every game was one step away from death? Like, he's already done this. He did it multiple times 2 years ago, bro. Like, that's not the thing to scare Gian with anymore. He's already gambled with his life multiple times. So this is where I was like, did you just not pay attention? Or do you not remember what happened? But again, I feel like Gong Yu's character was done. I really do think. And that's why he said the key is in my pocket. You can either take it the cowardly way, or we can keep playing the game. And so anyways, we see that in the end, Gian doesn't give in to the cowardice because he doesn't want to admit that he's, you know, all the things that Gong Yu's character said. But the one thing that Gong Yu kind of implied, and maybe without the name calling, but I was mentioning before when he was in the park telling all the homeless people that they're the ones who are responsible for this destruction of food that's happening. What Gian is failing to recognize is that everybody who went to the Squid Games made a choice. Twice, actually, right? They made the choice initially to show up and go into the game. And I mean, I will give them the first one. I will give a pass to the people who took it the first time because they were manipulated. None of them knew the levels of what was going to happen. And also many of them were forced into those contracts that made it very hard for them to say no. But when they had the vote and they were allowed to go home because they voted that they didn't want to do it anymore, and then almost all of them came back, that was absolutely a conscious choice by all of them. They all consciously decided to come back after that. So, and that was Gian included, right? So my point being is that what Gong Yu said, his character, he was telling the truth. Like, Gian, what he really wants to do is stop being mad at himself, because his greed is ultimately what landed him going through the experience he did. He's trying to blame Gong Yu's character. He's trying to blame the Squid Games. He's trying to blame the people who are in it. And yes, those people are all bad people for what their part in, you know, allowing these games to exist. But none of the people who were in there would be in there if it were not for the poor choices that they made that got them to those places of desperation. And we saw that last season. Every story we heard was that people had made, with the exception, sorry, my God, my bad, with the exception of the Indian guy, I can't think of his name right now. He did not. He was cheated by his boss. In fairness, that was probably the one of the few stories of somebody who got in there by desperation, true desperation. But the rest of them had made poor decision after poor decision after poor decision, and that is what ended them in a place where this could even be a thing for them to be sucked into. So anyways, all that to say that Gian really trying to kind of set himself above or apart is not really fair. And I do think he's going to get that realization at some point later on. But either way, very interesting conversation and face off between him and Gong Yu's character. And we see in the end, Gong Yu's character was he was no little bitch either. You know, he said, all right, you play the game, so will I. And he's gone. So as I said, sad day for me because I would love to see more of him, but I really don't see, I get it. There's no more place for him in this show, truthfully. You know, to be fair, he's not part of the games itself anymore. And, you know, even if, you know, by the end of this, the whole thing is taken down, he still won't be relevant in this way anymore. So yeah, I think he still did a great job and he had a really good run. And I think they did a good job of giving his whole character like a backstory and layers and everything in one episode, even though it is the only episode he'll be in. So either way, good start. I think we got a good start. We've got the groundwork set. We have our two people now who are the returnees that are trying to find their way back, and potentially two new players. So I'm excited to see where we're going to go from here. And I enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love and I'll see you in the next one.